What is up, everybody? Welcome back to a new state of the DCEU. A little bit of news dropped today. I had gotten out of work, and we've been talking for the past 3-4 days about rumors, but I feel like we've been talking about rumors regarding Snyder Cut for almost a year plus now. So I was like, we'll see. This might be just the biggest tease in the world. I get out of work. I usually sit in my truck, decompress for about 10-15 minutes before I get onto the road, and Twitter is just blowing up with Snyder Cut everywhere. The Snyder Cut is officially coming, everybody. So they have announced that not only is the movie coming, but it's coming exclusively to HBO Max at some point next year, probably release date later on to be determined. But they're actually funding the movie to be finished completely with whatever Zack Snyder's vision is. So one of the biggest arguments that we've seen for people that are like against the Snyder Cut is that it's going to be an unfinished movie, or even the cut, if they finish the VFX, is not quite his vision. Well, they just handed this dude $20 to $30 million to finish this film. Durban, first of all, how are you tonight?
Oh my gosh, I am super excited right now.
Very.
I don't know how else to describe it. My buddy over at Film Trigger sent me the link to this, and I went, "Yeah, right. This ain't real. There's no way this is real." And then it was real. Cody,
it's real.
This is actually happening.
I wish I almost had time enough to go back and get some footage, but I would bet body parts that at least on 2 separate occasions on past State of the DCEUs when we've talked about the Snyder Cut, I'm pretty sure the words "never going to happen" has come out of both of our mouths at least a few times.
Oh, I think so. I mean, as time has gone on, I think it's worn on me to the point where it's like, well, it might happen. But I think my biggest thing was this wasn't going to happen for another 20 years. Like, I really thought this would be a Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut type deal, where about 20, 30 years from now, when we all have gray hair, maybe I don't have any, and Warner Brothers isn't so embarrassed anymore, then that's when they'll go through that old footage and they'll re-release it with a cool documentary about what actually happened, because that was so long ago. Here it is. That's what I thought was going to happen. I can't believe it's actually coming.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things. I think the reason why we were pretty hard pressed that it was never going to happen, especially right after we saw Justice League and we're both very disappointed in it, is because in order for the Snyder Cut to exist and actually come to screens or streaming or, home video or whatever, Warner Brothers has to admit that they were wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no way that you can release the Snyder Cut and be like, okay, we still like our version better, but here's this other thing that we finished and funded. No, this is them, which is actually really impressive for a major movie studio to say, okay, we messed up. We took away this guy's vision after trusting him with the DCEU. We tinkered with it to no end. We gave it to a completely different director, completely different vision, and the box office showed us that we were wrong. So here is what you fans deserve, hopefully. God, it's gonna be a tragedy if this movie comes out and it's like, oh, it's even worse. But yeah, it's pretty cool that Warner Brothers, especially not, like you said, not having to wait 20 or 30 years to where the conversation has died down before they do it, to say, okay, fine, this is the real movie, this is the real deal right here.
Yeah.
So,
and, well, as released, the Snyder Cut kept getting more and more intense. I kept thinking that was the nail in the coffin, that the WB would never release it, right? Because, they're like, well, if we give in to the audience and all this internet peer pressure, we're setting a precedent. So I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, maybe the more this hashtag release the Snyder Cut grows, the less likely the WB will be able to do it. Like the less likely they'll want to do it. So I was like, all these things are going through my mind. I wanted the Snyder Cut. I believe in the Snyder Cut. And here's my thing, Cody. If the Snyder Cut is terrible, like we watch it and it's as bad as, rumors were back in the day, that's fine. I'm that curious right now. I just want to see the original vision. I want to know where this thing was going to, so good or bad, I don't even care. I want to see what this version was. I want to know more about that nightmare vision. I want to see where these things were going. Yeah,
me too. And I've always been a fan of Zack Snyder, so I know I understand some of the criticisms of his movies, but what I like about it, there's always that debate about setting the precedent and, should a movie studio be giving in to fan demand? Like we just had the Sonic the Hedgehog debacle this past year where they were like, no, we are not watching that Sonic. And the studio went, okay, my bad.
But look how good it turned out. I mean, that
Exactly.
Sonic came out looking really good. I think the studio was happy that they did it. And so I think the cool thing about modern times is it is cool to let the fans have some sort of say. We got to let creators create. We got to let them be able to take their artistic and creative license. But, at the same time, fans also have an idea of what they want to see. And cutting off a vision before it even has a chance to, be fully realized is terrible. Even if people didn't like the darkness of Batman versus Superman or the darkness of Superman in these movies, you got to admit, cutting off a vision before it has a chance to be completed makes it even worse.
Oh, absolutely. And it's been one of those things where, like, I haven't even rewatched Justice League since theaters. I own the 4K, the Steelbook that you were showing me earlier. I own the same one.
Oh, yeah. This is
That right
better
there.
than the
Yep.
entirety of the movie. I mean, front and back, the design of this Steelbook is better than the entire movie.
And I think that's the only reason that I bought it was because I was like, oh, I got to have that piece of steel there with painting on it. But yeah, it's a movie that, like, I didn't absolutely hate it when I saw it in theaters, but the more I sat with it, the more that I realized how bad this actually turned out to be and how much tinkering there was. Like, I don't think I've ever seen a movie in my life where you can just see all the studio decisions all over the movie. Like, every time you're like, yeah, that was somebody in a suit came up with that line. And then the combating tones too, where you have Zack Snyder's tone and you have Joss Whedon's tone, which couldn't be more different. I mean, it's like chocolate and an onion. I mean, I just don't, it just doesn't work. No. So the more I thought about it, the more time has gone on. It's just like, man, this thing right here is just a shame. And I love the fact that Jason Momoa has been such an unapologetic champion for this, to where, like, I mean, this guy is the star of, if I'm not mistaken, the highest grossing DCEU film thus far with Aquaman.
Yeah, I think
so. And he does not care one bit about going on social media and being like, yeah, Zack Snyder's cut needs to happen. and just like right in WB's face, like, yep, this needs to happen. And I love that. He's kind of like, he's kind of the inside scoop for us fans that have wanted this. But to get into a little bit of the details, I know we talked about it a little bit whenever we introed. So Zack Snyder apparently has known since last November. Which one is just like the Herculean strength of that man to not be able to leak this by now. Like, the amount of excitement that he must have had.
But he did a good job playing us, because honestly, the stuff that he's been posting, the way it's been posted, like November, like, isn't that when all the other actors joined in with hashtag release the Snyder Cut and how it should come out? So when that all happened, it's kind of like it raises the suspicion. What changed? I mean, you have Gal Gadot, you have Jason Momoa, you have Ben Affleck, you have more than just Snyder and fans doing it now. Something just shifted. Yep. And I think Snyder did a good job keeping that hype alive without telling us what the plan was.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only that is funny, but it's also, it's cool to read how he got the announcement. Just getting a call from one of the higher ups at WB going, you know what? This movement is real. You want $30 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. You know what I mean? So that's the other thing that's crazy too, is because, we've talked about the Snyder Cut. There's been a lot of debate about what, I think we all knew that at some point in our lifetime it was going to happen, but what version was it going to take? Is it going to be like the Watchmen Ultimate Cut, where you have cartoon storyboards filling out certain pieces of it? For some fans, that would be more than enough. They could just kind of get what the vision is. Is it going to be an unproduced cut that's going to have some very shoddy effects that they can kind of throw together really quick and thrown out for free on a streaming service? I'm kind of surprised that they're going to put more money into this, because it's not exactly a little known fact that this movie has lost a ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
I think the budget was upwards of $250-300 million, which is astronomical. They only made
91 million or something. Was it like that? It was.
I need
really
to look it up. You know what? I need to look it up, but it was low. It was the lowest grossing.
I think it was even under 100 million just that opening weekend. Like, it was really bad.
It was like surprising. It was like, oh my God, everybody smelled the stink on this, because it was like, the Avengers of the DCEU was the lowest.
I know.
It says on Wikipedia, which you can always trust, budget $300 million, box office $657 million.
So that would be total of its whole run.
Total of its whole run. So you got to think with the marketing, they might have not even broke even with that. And they're saying, okay, here's $30 more million to not only finish the VFX, but Zack Snyder is reassembling most of the post-production crew from the original movie to rescore it, which means that Danny Elfman's score is probably going to be out of there.
Not that I hated Danny Elfman's score, but it did not fit the vision of the DCU we were given. We needed to go back to Junkie XL.
The only element that I absolutely love, though, was when you get Batman's introduction, you get that little cue from the Batman animated series. That was the only moment where I was like, oh, and then you just kind of go right back to the movie.
I will say when I first saw it, things like that was what made me enjoy the big screen experience because it was kind of cool. But yeah, like you, the more I watched it, the more I went, wow, this is really bad.
Yeah, doesn't work. So totally different score, which I imagine is going to be more that kind of epic, mythic kind of sound that he's gone for in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, which is great. Re-edit the film, obviously. Finish and add VFX. So probably going to get some more extended Steppenwolf stuff. We're going to get something from Darkseid. He's talked about that ad nauseum.
Yeah, so I know.
That's going to be a whole
Martian
VFX
Manhunter
character.
And a little Green Lantern stuff too, from all the rumors I've heard.
Yes. All of that stuff. So there are a lot of new VFX, and then possibly bringing the cast back for new dialogue, which I will be excited about, because especially for Ben Affleck's sake, because he's just tried to sever that so much since the whole thing with the Batman has happened and he's moved on. It would be really cool for him to come back and support Zack Snyder, because he was one of the people that was tweeting, release the Snyder Cut, to say, okay, I'll come back and I'll be Batman one more time. I'm probably not going to be no more fight scenes or anything like that. It's just probably going to be dialogue scenes. I'm hoping that Ben Affleck and all them don't look really weird, because like I know some of the reshoots for like the Whedon stuff, you're like, he looks different. But no mustache.
No
mustache.
No more mustache gate. Oh my gosh. It looks like a swarm of bees stung his upper lip. It is so hard to watch. It hurts. It hurts the soul. Then you see people do that deep fake stuff online, and you're like, these aren't even professionals, and they made his face look better than the professionals. What were you guys thinking?
The end of Mustache Gate.
Oh, finally.
There is a God. So a lot of different things there to speculate on. Now, the other thing that's interesting too is that they're saying that this is going to be long. Like, it was after Joss Whedon took over that they did that whole mandate where it's got to be under 2 hours, I think it was. I remember all of us were like, however long the movie needs to be, why are you doing that?
Especially because the script was written and I think cameras were already rolling, and then they said it has to be, and it's like, well, that's stupid to do that now.
Yeah, exactly. Where's that mandate whenever you were writing the script? But the press release on Hollywood Reporter is saying that it could possibly be a 4-hour film, or they might split it up similar to how probably Quentin Tarantino's done his stuff on Netflix, his extended cuts, where they're going to split it into multiple episodes, like a 5 or 6 episode event on HBO Max. Really, either one of those sounds awesome to me. I don't know. You're going to have to edit it in a very specific way for it to make sense as a multi-sode kind of thing. But a 4-hour epic of Zack Snyder Justice League sounds pretty fine to me.
Well, give me the 4 hours. Cool. Somebody wants to watch a mini series. That's fine. I want it 4 hours, one shot, one solid movie. I can do it. I'm ready.
Yep. And I was one of the few people out there that was complaining about how long I was sitting there at home watching The Irishman last year. I'm like, oh my God, this movie's got to be over. Oh, it's only an hour in. But I'll be the person sitting there for 3.5 hours like, just watching it the whole time.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I definitely have my movies that I'm like that with, that, they're 3 hours long and it feels like I've been watching them for 6 years. But I could watch the Lord of the Rings extended editions and it feels like only 5 minutes have gone by. And that's what this would be for me. This would be a Lord of the Rings extended edition. Though the one thing I thought was cool in that article is Snyder apparently hasn't watched the Whedon version. But he said from everything that he heard, it sounds like only 1/4 of his stuff was even seen. And so
it was kind of a weird quote. I don't know if he's saying he's only seen a quarter of the full cut, or if we've only seen a quarter of his cut. If it's going to be a 4-hour movie, I would imagine that's probably accurate, because it was a less than 2 hour film that it felt like 60% of it was Whedon stuff. So there's a lot that we have not. It'll be a completely different movie. It's not going to be like the extended cut of, or the ultimate edition of Batman v Superman, where you get 30 minutes extra. It's still the same movie, but it just kind of fleshes it out more. This would be something basically completely different.
Which Batman vs Superman shows again the mistakes of the studio, because
absolutely
the stuff they cut was ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, the movie still wasn't perfect in Batman vs Superman. It still had its issues, but when they put those scenes back in, it at least made it more coherent. It's like, that's why that happened. That's why Superman was thinking the way he was thinking. That makes who is fired now because they made the call to cut this stuff.
Yeah, I'll never understand that, because, you know, like you said, there's some things that no cut of Batman v Superman will ever fix.
Yeah.
You will never convince me that Jesse Eisenberg is a great Lex Luthor. Not that he didn't execute what they wanted great. Maybe he did, but not for me.
That's just not Lex Luthor at all. Even though they try to pull it off, this is Lex Luthor Jr. That does not fix the issue for me at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. There's that. There's some of the things at the end. Like I back when I did my podcast, I did a little review of the Ultimate Edition, and one of the things that I had a biggest gripe with was in the third act, whenever all the carnage is going down with you know, the three coming together to fight the threat at the end. And you have Lois Lane that's just going back and forth trying to get this spear, where she like takes the spear and she throws it away. And then she finds out that they need the spear. So she goes to try to get it. And then she gets held underwater. So Superman has to come and save her. And then she gets out, and then Superman almost dies. So she tosses the spear aside to help him. And it's just like, what are you doing? So there's stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like you said,
like that was kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah. But like you said, you take a movie, you add 30 minutes to it, and it was already a very long movie. And a very taxing movie because of the themes and everything that they were going for. And somehow adding 30 minutes makes it feel shorter, because it just flows better and it clicks more and the story makes sense. And it's not like the opening of that film just felt so jarring on its own in the theater, where you're like, what is this going on here? Yeah. And then just little scenes here and there.
All I could think is, Superman came and saved Lois. How did he do anything bad? What are you framing him for? Then you get the Ultimate Edition, and you see how they took those bodies, piled them up, lit them on fire, and said, see, Superman burned them all with his eyes. And it's like, oh, okay, a little contrived still a little bit, but at least you filled that out, and now I can actually possibly conceive of where you were going with, you're framing Superman. And it's like, okay, thank you. And so I that's why I'm excited for the Justice League, simply because, like, I want to see where this was going to go. Like the Nightmare Vision, that was I mean, in terms of film, it was put together so well, but it's weird and it's jarring. And the way the Justice League didn't even address that, didn't take us back to that, didn't bring it up even one time, just leaves it hanging like this weird, awkward thing. And it's like WB just wants us to forget about that, sweep that under the rug and forget. And it's like, I can't forget it. It was weird. And you made it such a big deal that I have to watch this incredibly weird moment. So now, hopefully, finally, if we've only seen a quarter truly of what Snyder shot, I can't wait to get the rest and have these gaps filled in. And if a half hour fixed BVS the way it fixed it, I can't wait to see what, you know, an additional 2.5 hours is going to do. Yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. And I'm almost curious too. Like, I don't know, maybe this is wishful thinking, and I know I'm really putting the cart above the horse for saying this, but if this thing is as good as we hope that it is, and such a dynamic change, and I hope that it's the success that it is, which, small little tangent, everybody watching, if you were somebody that has been like us and tweeting release the Snyder Cut, and you've been championing this and fighting for this, you better support it when it comes out.
Yes, you better.
Do HBO Max, even if you only do it for a month. So rant over. But if it succeeds on the level that we hope it does, to where it's like this unprecedented release, kind of like how The Mandalorian was huge for Disney Plus, I hope that this blows the doors off even for those kind of records. If it's a success on the level that we hope that it is, I'm curious if and how that will alter WB's current plans right now, truly altering the state of the DCEU. Because here's the thing, what they've done that's been really smart, and I don't know if they planned ahead on this or not, and it's led to a lot of confusion, but in hindsight, it's very smart that since Justice League and all this turmoil has happened, they've really focused on these singular stories with loose connective tissue, to the point where if they decide to abandon all of the pre-era, you know, Zack Snyder stuff, they can carry forward and it'll still make mostly sense, and they can keep carrying forward and making these great films. or if something like this happens where we go, okay, now the fans love this. Now everybody's on board. Ben Affleck, you still want your Batman movie? Because we can have 2 Jokers. We can have 2 Batmans. You know, I don't know. I don't know if Ben Affleck will be up for it, or if, you know, if we can get some things like that. But it seems like they've left themselves enough doors open to where I'm curious if this thing is just a monster hit and critically and fans just love it. If WB would be like, we need to reassess things a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
I've been wondering that too. Like how if this is a monster success, will it change anything? Because HBO Max, it's TV, it's a subscription service. So yes, everybody who has ever tweeted #release the Snyder Cut, sign up for HBO Max the day this thing releases so we can all see it. But I'd be curious to see what it does, because I mean, if it's really successful, is there any chance that they'll launch the Snyderverse and maybe release Justice League on the big screen just so more people can see it, and then continue a verse based off that timeline and let us continue to see how he was going to develop Superman? I don't know how many more movies were left in Snyder's vision. I heard he had a 5-movie arc. So if that's true, you had Man of Steel, you had BVS and Justice League. So you got 2 more movies to go. Will we get those other 2 movies and see the completion of that arc? And would that be just straight to HBO Max? And would that make Ben Affleck happy? I would be happy to see Ben Affleck in that, even if it never hits the big screen. I don't know. These are questions that I have, and I'm very curious. And if we all watch this thing and make it a success, maybe we'll get the answer to that.
Yeah, I'm curious how it's going to go, because they did at one point, they had already a release date kind of penned for Justice League 2. Obviously, the Batman, we know about that one. I'm curious what that middle film would be, or if they would just follow it up with a Justice League 2 later on. I'm not sure, but the optimism in me is wondering what the success of this thing will do. Is this just going to be an unprecedented thing where Zack Snyder finally gets a little bit of justice? Wink, wink. But that's the other thing too that I'm very happy about, because, you know, like, I know people have their criticisms of Zack Snyder, but for somebody to be, obviously, whether or not you like his vision or not, the dude is very passionate and loves these characters and loves this world, and he's just put his blood, sweat, and tears into doing this 3-film arc. To finally be able to complete it his way, I think is awesome, because like I was saying earlier, despite all the debate over whether or not studios should be listening to fans or giving in to fans, or if this sets a good precedent or a bad precedent, I like the fact that a studio is willing to respect a director's vision and say, okay, you deserve to be able to make this happen, because I don't know how many movie studios out there would actually be willing to do that. Like, you would never see the I'm trying to think of the damn director's name now. You would never see Edgar Wright given $100 million by Disney and saying, okay, the fans have been asking for it, let's make your Ant-Man. You know what I mean? You'd never see it. The things like that. So it's a cool precedent, in my opinion, where you have a studio saying, you're an artist, we trusted in your vision, we screwed up your vision, now let's make it right.
And hopefully things like streaming services can change the world in that way, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, okay, the studio wants to play it safe for the big screen, but maybe, just maybe, something like HBO Max and having streaming services will make that available for the artists to have their vision. Because now it's up to us if we want to watch it or not. And so, you know, I mean, maybe like if this is successful, we could get more Justice League, we could get more in finishing this character arc. And I like Snyder. I do. I think I like his visuals. I like the way he does action. And I loved Man of Steel. I still don't get all the hate for Man of Steel. I really don't get it.
I never will.
Because Superman was building towards being a character of hope. I think for me, the biggest problem was not doing a solo Man of Steel sequel or having a solo Batman sequel in between Man of Steel and BVS. But maybe the way the story arc flows and this Snyder cut of Justice League, maybe that will work backwards and kind of fix that a little bit. So who knows? I'm just looking forward to seeing what we get. But I loved Man of Steel. I loved this take on Superman. I was in it to win it. Now I'm excited to see at least some measure of where that was going to go, where Man of Steel started and where it was going to go from there.
Yeah, I'm with you. And now that you bring up Superman, I think maybe the more realistic optimism would be that if everybody goes out and clamors for this thing and we make it a success, then WB will finally be like, okay, Henry Cavill, let's get back on the Superman train.
Oh,
because that's that's been the biggest thing for me that's been frustrating. It's like, okay, I get reasons why Ben Affleck departed. It sucks. I will go my entire life thinking, man, I wish I could have seen that movie. I just think back to that warehouse fight scene in BVS, and I'm like, why do I not have a whole movie of this? But Henry Cavill has been the one
about that.
Yeah, Henry Cavill's been the one that I've been the most confused about, because we're carrying forward with Wonder Woman, we're carrying forward with Aquaman, supposedly we're carrying forward with The Flash. Cyborg, I guess he's just whatever. We're not doing your movie anymore. But Henry Cavill's Superman's been the one where I'm like, why is this not moving around? Why have we not gotten a Man of Steel 2 announcement? Like, what's going on? This is arguably the most popular character in DC aside from Batman. That's one of those two. And they're just kind of like, we don't know what we want to do with him just yet. And it's like, how? You don't know what you want to do?
Yeah, and that's what confuses me. And I felt a little bit of hope, but not a lot, when they decided. I mean, I just saw headlines. I haven't really read the articles, but, on Facebook, you see these headlines, so they might be all lies. But, I knocked over my cover. We're fine. Nobody panic. Everything's fine over here. Okay. But I just lost my train of thought because I knocked over my beautiful cover off my desk. Man of Steel, Superman. Oh, Supergirl. The fact that they stopped talking about a Supergirl movie and said, yeah, we're going to refocus on Superman instead of a Supergirl movie. Mm-hmm. Sweet. Because Henry Cavill deserves some justice too. No pun intended. Mm-hmm. He should not have been done as Superman. I thought he was great, and we needed that Man of Steel too. And I don't know what to think of those articles at all, but I want that Man of Steel 2 so bad. And I agree with you. I hope this changes some execs' minds when they see this and like, yep, okay, let's just continue on Man of Steel and let's have Henry Cavill go forward.
Yeah, I love Henry Cavill as Superman. He's actually, his version, him and Zack Snyder's version of the Man of Steel is what made me a Superman fan, because I've went my whole life not liking Superman. I didn't like him as a kid. I always thought he was too powerful. I was always a Batman fan, and I was always like, this guy is like a utility belt. He has a power for everything. He can freeze, he can blow things up, he's got laser eyes, he can shoot away, and it's so I never really got into him, never got into the cartoon, never got into the movies. And until Man of Steel, that was true. And then I saw Man of Steel and went, wow, now I dig it. Now I'm a Superman fan. Now I like this. I want to see more. And I did not mind the darker tone that they went for, because like you've said a couple of times, you could tell that they were progressing. They were building towards it. It wasn't like this is going to be a dark Superman and this is just how it is. You could see that there was, even in Man of Steel, I don't even think he was that dark in Man of Steel. There was dark situations. It was more mythic, a little bit more serious with the destruction of Metropolis and the way that Papa Kent died and everything like that. But you could feel that it was something that was going to be taxing on him. Having to snap the neck of Zod, that was something that was going to fundamentally change him as a character, that we are probably going to see ramifications for later on. You get to BVS, that whole struggle there could have been a little bit better, but you still see the struggle, the progression of the light. Why am I fighting for these people when they all hate me? And then hopefully in this 4-hour cut, we finally kind of see that where he's resurrected. Although I like the humor in the scene where he fights the Justice League, whatever kind of ramifications come from him coming back, I feel like we'll see that final kind of transition into the Superman that everybody's been wanting for a long time.
Yes. And and like you said, I don't think that, like when you watch Man of Steel, I don't think Superman's that dark. He is brooding a little bit, but that's only because what would you do if you were an alien born on this earth and you fit in nowhere? Like if you shake somebody's hand, you could disintegrate it just by squeezing it too hard. What if you sneeze? He probably doesn't sneeze, but let's just throw a what if out there and he blows down an entire barn. Happened in an episode of Smallville where he blew the barn door off of a barn because he sneezed. And so when you think about, and that's what I liked about Man of Steel's approach. What do you do when you live in the world we live in? A world that is divided by the Last Jedi so severely that we can't even have a reasonable conversation. What happens when there's something real, like an alien with power? The world's not going to react well to that. They'll be sharply divided by that. I thought that was well portrayed in both Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. I loved watching Superman try to find his place in that world. Like, he loves the world. It's his home. He loves his parents, but he's trying to find his place in that world. And when we got the 2017 Whedon Justice League, it just felt like, he woke up from the dead and was like, yeah, I'm just going to be happy now. It's like, well, no, you skipped a huge chunk of this powerful journey. I want to see the completion. I want to see what I missed in that journey, because I loved that setup of that Superman in the real world trying to find his place. And that's my biggest hope with the Justice League. Yes, I can't wait to see Ray Fisher Cyborg actually be the heart of the movie and have his full role restored. I can't wait to see what Steppenwolf was really supposed to be. Yes, there's all that stuff that sounds cool. I love Superman. I've always been a major Superman fan, and I love what was started in Man of Steel, and I want to see that journey, and I want to see how this dying and coming back really impacts this Superman.
Yeah, I'm very curious. Now, here's an interesting question, too. Now, obviously, we can't say for sure, but we can make a pretty good guess on which director's scenes were what. Is there anything in the theatrical cut that you think that you'll miss?
I can think of one thing in the theatrical cut, if it's not in the new cut, that I'd miss. When Superman's resurrected and the Flash is running circles around him,
and then
Superman follows him, and their eyes meet, and the expression on their faces. If that's not in the Snyder Cut, that would be something that I would miss, because I thought that was probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
That was by far the most successful Whedonism in that movie, in my opinion. I could tell that's a Joss Whedon thing, because I don't think that fight even occurs in the Snyder Cut. But we'll or not the way that it was portrayed in the theatrical cut. But that was the same thing
version. But
well, we got Black Suit Spider-Man Superman at some point in the Snyder Cut, I believe. So that's going to be wildly different. But yeah, I'm the same way. That's the one thing that I honestly really enjoyed as far as like stuff that I could tell was just added to the film. Just that where he's doing this and all of a sudden you just see his eyes and he looks and the Flash is like
well, see, this is where you look at the true problem with Justice League. You look at it and you go, why didn't you guys postpone the release date? Because okay, that's fine. Snyder had a tragedy in his family and he departed the project. So here's what you do. You either trash Snyder's version and let Joss Whedon start over and let it be a 100% Whedon film, or you do what you can to finish Snyder's vision and release that. But the fact that they kept what they kept from Snyder and then tried to bring in Joss Whedon, it's like the worst quilt patched together ever. It looks terrible.
Yeah, here's an interesting question that just got brought up into the chat by Claudia. I wonder how Whedon feels about this. How do you think Joss Whedon feels about this whole thing? Do you feel like he's insulted by the fact that it seems like a big, loud part of the fan base is going, screw that movie, I want Zack Snyder's film? Or do you feel like he is championing the vision of Snyder? Because I don't think that, although he obviously worked very hard to finish the film, it wasn't a movie that he put his blood, sweat, and tears into like the Avengers movies. It wasn't his baby. So I think he came in. I think he did the best job that he possibly could under the circumstances. I mean, the dude had impossible tasks ahead of him. We said even before the movie came out, like it's going to be a hell of a task to get it all done, to mandate the 2 hours, to be able to find your own tone that mixes with this, to get it out by the release date, to get all these actors that are pissed that they have to come back and redo this whole movie, to take out a mustache, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm curious. I would almost like to see some kind of a tweet from him in support of something like that. Like
I would
even just a hashtag release the Snyder Cut. I don't know if he has done that or not, but I am curious.
I just wonder how burned out he feels, because first off, you have Age of Ultron, which did not go over well for him, right? You know, like we hear all those rumors, the studios kind of really hemmed him in. And on the one hand, I get it, because the MCU at that time, they had a specific vision, not just for one movie, but for an entire universe. And so that can't be easy. And I think he was burned working on that. And I feel horrible that he got burned working on that and then gets drawn into this DCEU mess. Because I like Whedon. I think he's great. I love Firefly. That is my favorite thing that dude has ever created. But I like Whedon. I like his writing style. I like his humor. I like how he does a great job with ensemble cast, which is why I'm saying for Justice League, they either needed to totally throw out Snyder's version and let it be Whedon's baby, or try to finish Snyder's version from the beginning, because yeah, this has got to be another thing that's kind of burned Whedon out. And I don't know how much other stuff I've seen from Whedon at all since this movie. I mean, have you seen anything else from him?
He did a small little movie. Wasn't it like a Shakespeare or something like that? I could
yes,
be
he did.
off.
Yeah. But that was between
Much Ado About Nothing or something like that.
And I own that movie, and it was a really cool version of Much Ado About Nothing. But it came out between, I think, Avengers and Age of Ultron. Like, he just did that for the fun of it. So, like,
he's still sleeping. He's still decompressing from all the stuff. He's just at home. Another comment that we got from Boomstick Critique makes a very interesting point here. Release the Ayer Suicide Squad cut.
Oh,
that's another thing when we talk about optimism.
I don't know. He didn't get a lot of time to even write that movie, right? Like
that's going to be a BVS situation where there's going to be a lot of things that no cut is going to fix. But I'll tell you what, if nothing else, just for the respect of Jared Leto, I want to see all of those Joker scenes, because that guy, like, it is not even, it's an understatement to say the popular opinion is that he's the worst Joker. I mean, you see jokes of it all the time, all memes. You see these lists, you see like these artworks where all the Jokers are hanging out and he's kind of like cast out. And it, and don't get me wrong, there's things creatively that was done with that Joker stylistically, with the way that he was designed, with the grill and the tattoos, that I don't think I'll ever really understand. But all like I think 80% of his footage was just left on the cutting room floor.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah.
I don't think you'll ever see a movement for an Ayer Suicide Squad cut. But that's one that I would love to see, either a stream or a special edition Blu-ray or something like that, where we could see those scenes put back in, because it's not like the Snyder Cut where there's extra stuff that has to be done and movie, a budget that has to be given to it to shoot new scenes and to finish VFX. It's literally just taking the stuff that you cut and putting it back into the movie. So I would like to see that alternate version. I don't think
we have HBO Max, so
maybe
why not throw it out there on HBO Max eventually? The funny thing about that is, and you and I talked about this in a previous state of the DCEU, because they released the extended cut on Blu-ray, and I think you and I both agreed the extended cut made it worse. It didn't make anything any better. It made it worse. I agree with you. I wouldn't mind getting more of the Joker, just because Jared Leto is not a bad actor. So I feel bad for him, and I want to give him that shot to see what else did he do, what else was Ayer thinking with that character. But I don't have as much faith in that version, because we already got an extended cut, and I liked it even less than the theatrical cut.
My dad drops into the chat to say, it'll still suck, LOL. The eternal optimism of Papa Leach.
Yes. Oh, yeah. My wife is not very optimistic about this either. She's like, I'll believe that the Snyder Cut actually exists when it's out.
Yeah. Like, and I understand that. I understand that. Yeah. I understand that totally. But yeah, I'm with you. The extended cut, I haven't watched Suicide Squad in so long, but if I remember correctly, I think it's because they added 1 or 2 Joker Harley scenes, and that was mostly it. But the ones that they added just made their relationship more confusing in the film, where the theatrical cut, it was a very clear, they both needed each other in a very sick way. It wasn't a one-sided thing like most of the comics and the animated series, where Joker really couldn't care less about Harley Quinn, and she was the fixated one. They had a very back and forth fixation on each other, and I think the extra scenes added in kind of clouded that and made it even more weird. But you have this whole subplot.
It didn't work.
Yeah, you have this whole subplot that we've seen a lot of the footage in the trailers where, Joker's got a grenade and he's burned on part of his face, or there's some kind of a blackness where something's exploded, and there's a lot of alternate scenes with him in it that I really just want to see, because I'm selfish. I'll just put it out there. I love Joker, so I just want to see more Joker stuff. But that is an interesting question to bring up, whether or not we'll get that one, because that is another one that kind of because
I want it to be good. I do. It's not like I go into Suicide Squad thinking, oh, I want this movie to be bad and I want something to complain about. I am a DC. Like, I like Marvel, and I think Marvel's fantastic, and I love the MCU. But at heart, I'm a DC. I love Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, not Ryan Reynolds, but the character. I love DC Comics. I love their stories. The Earth One comic book series is amazing, and I want justice for them on the big screen. But something about Suicide Squad, even getting an Ayer cut, just doesn't excite me at all. I didn't like that version. It was weird. Part of it was because you could tell they edited it and re-edited it 7 times over, and it just was, ow, I hit my funny bone. Came out on the big screen a mess. And so maybe an Ayer cut would fix the mess. I don't know, but I agree with your dad. It would probably still suck.
Exactly. So let me see. What is the next with all these delays and everything? I'm so off track. Is Wonder Woman 84 the next DC movie that we're getting?
Yep. And
Okay.
so far that I've seen, it's still coming out in August, but it sounds like there's still potential of it getting moved again. I don't know.
Okay.
But yes, that is our next DC film, which I think the trailer for that looks pretty fantastic.
I'm still curious on how they're going to incorporate Chris Pine, how they're bringing him back. That's my biggest question mark, because although I loved his character and I loved their chemistry in the first Wonder Woman, I think that he elevates that movie quite a bit. I don't know how I feel about the resurrection thing, because I think deaths are important for the weight of the character. And for for Wonder Woman to have something like that kind of moving her forward, that was kind of what the bookend was with Wonder Woman anyway, with Bruce Wayne sending her that picture. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. One of the biggest things that I've criticized Marvel for the longest time was that they would always fake kill everybody. And like it's one of those things which, spoiler alert if you guys haven't seen the biggest movie in years,
ever.
But ever. But like if they brought Tony Stark back in a year or so, they're like, okay, it's not working. Bring back Tony Stark. He lives now. Like it just takes so much of the weight away. So I'm curious. That's the biggest thing for me. I think she looks great. The trailer looked fun. I'm curious about the villain, Cheetah, I believe. I don't know if she's going to be the only villain, but I've never heard of this character, so I'm very curious what it's going to be like.
Well, Maxwell Lord is going to be the villain, which he's like a Lex Luthor villain, super rich. And you see him in the trailer. He's the guy who says, whatever you wish, let's make it happen. However he says it in the trailer. And then you see this one moment where he's holding this really weird stone as that voiceover thing is going on. If you wish it, it will happen. So I'm thinking there's some magic in this stone, and that somehow Wonder Woman accidentally wishes, Chris Pine back into existence, which still sucks. And they have to end the movie with him dying again. Like it has to happen again, because
in every Wonder Woman movie, he gets brought back and dies in a new way.
Well, they got to quit doing that. Like you said, like that's the one thing that drives me. Like I love comic book stuff. I love sci-fi fantasy, but my gosh, let death mean something. Come on. Chris Pine, the way his character exited was amazing. It was a great death scene. It gave Wonder Woman that last bit of oomph, to rise above and discover the true power within. And it gave her that moment of temptation to go to the dark side. She was so angry at his death, and then she overcame that. Like that death scene provided so much, and it was so powerful. And now all of a sudden he's back. So the problem now is, and I have faith they can do it. I mean, I like what they did with the first one, but you got to do something equally as powerful now. Because if this is not a soft reboot, if this is playing in the same timeline as Batman versus Superman and Justice League, he can't be there at that time. He's got to be gone. So you have to figure out how to wipe him out again, and you got to make it somehow just as powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Now, something that we haven't done a state of the DCU in a while, because there hasn't been anything real big to talk about since this, but something that was kind of making its waves around last week. What are your thoughts on whether or not he was joking or not? I don't know. What are your thoughts on Robert Pattinson's comments on not wanting to work out for the Batman? I'm assuming you're familiar with the story.
I am. And I even saw more of that today. And I never clicked that stuff because I don't care. What does that matter? He's wearing a dang suit anyway. He's going to wear a suit as Bruce Wayne, some sort of tuxedo, and he's wearing a bat suit as Batman. I don't care. He's human. He's not a Kryptonian alien that gets chiseled by the sun and has to look like a god. He's human. I don't care if he works out or if he doesn't work out. He's going to have his body covered in a bat suit anyway. I'm still trying to get the sparkling vampire out of my head. So I don't care if he's working out or not. Just give me the movie. Quit talking about it. Like, I am so tired of hearing about the Batman. I'm excited about it. I like Matt Reeves as a director. I have faith in Robert Pattinson. Like, I think he could probably pull this off. So I am looking forward to it. But as you could probably testify, for 3 years, you and Sean Chandler and me and Tyler have been going back and forth in the chat, annoyed with this constant talk of the Batman. I don't care anymore. If he doesn't want to work out, shut up. That's not newsworthy. Just shut up.
Do you remember the dark times whenever it was like every 3 days there would be a new update on the Batman, and then a day later they would retract it? And it was when we were all very new in YouTube, so we were trying to be like hot on the press as soon as the thing.
Oh man!
Oh my God, Ben Affleck might not be doing the direction. We'd do a whole video, and then the next thing he'd go on and be like, "I'm totally directing the Batman." Crap! And then we have to go in, retract it, do another one. He's totally in, and then 2 weeks later, Ben Affleck rumored to be leaving. Shit, we have to go back and do another one.
Yep, I do. The funny thing about that whole little period, though, my wife and I were actually in vacation in New Zealand, and it was a 2.5 week vacation.
That's right, yeah.
And my wife and I were, I don't remember where we were in the country, but it was a super long road trip, right? And I'm just sitting here, I am trying so hard to enjoy the scenery, and my phone goes ding, 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 and it's just constantly the back and forth of the news of this. And I'm like, I'm so glad I can't do anything about this right now. I am so glad I am missing out on this because this is super irritating.
Oh, yeah. I remember whenever it was, whenever the first mostly official statement came out, I was actually in the middle of moving. And I actually did a video in front of my TV. Like I had nothing in the house but my camera and the TV. And so I put like a picture of Batman on my TV, and I just kind of sat catty cornered over here and just talked about it. That's how, like, on the drop of a dime, there would be some new update with that. But yeah, I'm with you. I love Matt Reeves to death. Like his Apes trilogy is.
Yes.
Like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes,
that
honestly.
Trilogy is his, but yes.
Yes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Like if I was going to do a top 25 movies of all time, it might be on that list. I love Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And War is damn good, but I love Dawn so much.
Yeah, no, all of those are so good. And Matt Reeves did such a great job with that. And so his take on the Batman, I think, is going to be really good. And that guy, he posted a comment in there talking about how it's supposed to focus on Batman as the world's greatest detective, which I am very much looking forward to seeing that side of Batman. So that'll be cool to get that take. It's nice that it's a early Batman years, but not an origin story. So there's a lot of things I've heard about this that has me excited. I can't wait to see this. I just wish everybody would stop talking about it. No more posts on the internet. Let's hear nothing about it except for the first trailer.
Yeah. I'm kind of with you. It's like the death of 1,000 cuts because we keep hearing about it and we're like, is a trailer? Oh, no, he's just not working out. Like, oh, is it a trailer? Oh, no, it's just a video of the dude on the motorcycle.
Is it a trailer? Oh, no, somebody else complaining that he's not working out.
Yeah.
Hashtag which not my Batman.
My take, because I haven't really talked about that too much. My take on that whole thing, like, I don't know, the instant defense that came out where people who are Robert Pattinson fans are like, look, he's trolling, he's just joking around, he does this in interviews all the time. I don't understand an actor's motivation to do that when you know that what you say is going to be spread everywhere, especially in the age we are now, where a little portion of your sentence is going to make the headline completely out of context. I don't understand the motivation of that. And I don't really think that it's right for some of the responses that I've seen, not yours, but for some of the responses that I've seen where they're like really digging into people who have gotten pissed off about this. It's like, well, not everybody follows every interview that Robert Pattinson does. So their first reaction is just going to take him at face value and say, okay, he doesn't want to work out. I'm on the side where I pretty much understand exactly what you're saying. He's going to be wearing a bat suit. He's going to be wearing suits and everything like that. Christian Bale was pretty lean in 2 of the 3 Nolan movies.
Yeah.
And on the other side of the coin, I do prefer my Batman to be bulky. Like, I love how huge Ben Affleck looked. Like, even the workout scene where he just looks like monstrous, like he's getting ready to I'm ready to go kill a god. Like, that's the kind of Batman that I like, just because I'm selfish. I want my actors to just go complete Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, and just like, I'm this new human being now. But I get it. I mean, especially if he's going to be younger, if he's going to be earlier on. Obviously, Batman didn't, come out of the womb totally ripped up and, 100 pounds of muscle and anything like that. So, I mean, there's even room to progress that. And he might be in great shape and just joking around with it, and we're gonna see the movie and be like, oh dude, he got pretty jacked.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's one of those things that's totally non-news, but I understand the fanboys' passion where they're like, what, a skinny Batman? So I get it.
I've seen Robert Pattinson, and I don't think he looks super skinny. I mean, he's not super muscular, but it's not like out of the question that dude could be Batman. So I don't know. for me, this whole weird workout question is such a weird thing.
And to be fair, like we're in a weird era now to where we expect this. But to be fair, we've only had 2 performances of Batman where he's honestly jacked.
Yes,
Ben Affleck and Batman Begins, where he was genuinely muscular in that one, and then you see him in The Dark Knight, and he looks way leaner. So I mean, you look at Michael Keaton, you look at Val Kilmer, even George Clooney to a degree. And even the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises is a pretty lean Batman. So I think that it's just because we're in this new age where you see how gigantic like Captain America gets in every movie, and you see like we're spoiled by Hugh Jackman where we see him in the Wolverine and Logan, and it's just like, my God, that's another species. I don't know what that is.
Yes, yeah.
So I think we're spoiled. Like we want that level of dedication because for some reason, like when you look at what Hugh Jackman went through every single time he played Wolverine for 20 years.
Oh my God.
You want that kind of dedication. Like you don't want to hear like, I don't want to work out. It's like, what? You're Batman.
Yeah. But I'm willing to bet the way he said it, like you said earlier, it's probably stuff taken out of context and then the internet runs wild with it. He probably didn't say, no, I'm just lazy and I don't want to work out. So I don't care how my Batman looks. Like it probably was nothing like that. Mm-hmm. He's probably already in some regular workout routine and probably already looks pretty good to play Batman. And so he's like, no, I'm not going to do anything extra crazy. So it could have been as simple as that. So it's just one of those things where even before this Snyder Cut news dropped today, and I woke up this morning, eating some breakfast, going through YouTube, and there was about 6 videos in a row at my recommended watch feed. He's not working out. It's like, seriously? Where's something fun to watch?
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
Well, do you have any more thoughts on the Snyder Cut or anything DC, or do you want to go to some chat questions for a while?
Yeah, let's do some chat questions. I'm good with that.
All right, cool. Well, we got 173 of you guys watching, so go ahead and we'll do some Q&A. Try to keep it somewhat DC focused. Just so we have a little bit of continuity here, but go ahead and shoot some questions at us, and we'll start picking some good ones and chat with you guys for the next 20 minutes, 30 minutes, however long it goes.
Yeah, I find it funny that actually today I was editing a Marvel video for my channel, and then all the news drops and you call me up and you're like, we got to do this. It's like, yes, we do. Marvel video on pause. We got to talk Snyder Cut.
That was the first thing that I saw on Twitter was everybody announcing it, and the first notification I had was somebody's like, definitely need to have a state of the DCEU tonight, right? Here's one, and this one's actually a big one for me. Joseph Steele, do you think the Snyder Cut will be released on DVD and Blu-ray?
I think so.
I think so too.
I think definitely it's going to hit HBO Max first and be there for a while. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, think of how many people like me. I was 50-50 on HBO Max, and now I'm 100% in.
Oh yeah,
that's what this announcement did for me. And
I was 0% on HBO Max because I'm like, I don't need another streaming service. They probably are going to show all the movies I have.
Show. I want to see I love the Green Lantern. I want a Green
Lantern.
I didn't
know that.
Show. Okay. Yeah. So like, that's why I was 50-50. It's like, okay, I'll do the month trial. Then Snyder Cut's like, yep, done. I'm in. So, like they're going to hold off on that for a while, but I think it's going to come.
Yep, exactly. Toronto Freddy, I said that he was bulky in Batman Begins. So please listen. Let me see here. I do not watch this show, but I'm curious if you do. Thoughts on Ruby Rose out of Batwoman?
I don't even like that show.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, the most I've seen of Ruby Rose's Batwoman came from me watching their whole awesome Crisis on Infinite Earths thing that happened mid-year this year. Like, I gave up on all of those shows because they were all driving me nuts. I mean, I loved Arrow seasons 1 and 2. It's still some of my favorite television. And same thing with the first 2.5 seasons of Flash. Freaking loved it, but it just lost it for me after a while. And I watched 2 seasons of Supergirl and I was done. And I never gave Batwoman a shot, except for in the crossover she was in. And I like Ruby Rose as Batwoman. I think she was good. And if I cared more about the show, I would be more hurt that she's gone. Because honestly, I can't see who else could do that role because she did a really good job in Crisis on Infinite Earths. But there it is. That's my honest opinion. She's great. I'm sad she's leaving, but I never watched the show anyway.
I never saw Crisis on Infinite Earths or anything, so I have zero opinion on it. I think it's weird that you get a show announced that you're the star of, and then one season in, you're like, bye. I don't know.
Something else happened there.
Something else had to have happened. Yeah. So I don't know what that whole thing is. But yeah, like you, I loved Arrow season 1. Absolutely loved season 2 with Deathstroke. Season 3, I liked like half of it, but then it quickly just.
Season 3 was the beginning of the end.
Yes, and the Flash was the same. I got through about half of season 3 and just it was like a switch went off. I was like, I just don't enjoy this show anymore. Love season 1. Again, really love season 2 with Zoom. And I never really got into Legends of the whatever the hell with all those people.
I watched one season of that, which the first season was only half a season long, and that was too much.
Yeah,
so I never went back to that. Flash lost it for me because Barry kept becoming more grave and more serious. And come on, guys, we got to get our act together and be heroes now. And it got so soap opera like. And I was like, no, I started the Flash because it was a good contrast to Arrow. He was bright and cheery and funny, and I liked that. And then they took that away from him. And so I was done after season 3 for sure.
I was disappointed with the whole Flashpoint thing because they teased that for so long and got everything built up, and then they did it in one episode.
Yeah.
And it was like...
They should have saved Flashpoint for this place they're at now, where they have more heroes.
Yeah.
Because that's where Flashpoint really shines. The only thing I liked about the Flashpoint season was him learning the consequences of time travel. Learning to live with the consequences of his actions, and that time travel is not a cure-all for all his problems. That, I thought, was actually the only part that was clever about it. But having watched the animated Flashpoint movie, I'm like, wow, you guys missed a lot of opportunity.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got one super chat from Doug804. Harley Quinn TV show, please watch. Have you watched the Harley Quinn show at all?
That's the animated one, right?
Yes.
It looks pretty funny, and no, I have not watched it. So
I've heard it's pretty mature. I've heard it's like R-rated or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to check it out. The season 2 trailers look pretty funny, so.
Yeah, so I haven't seen any trailers from it. I really don't watch too much animated stuff. No reason why. I guess it's just a stigma or something like that. But I've been curious about it because I've heard a lot of people say that it's really good.
Same here.
And the fact that it's mature makes me a little bit curious because that's something that we don't get very often. So what kind of stories will we get out of that?
And it definitely looks parody. The most recent trailer I saw was some goofy stuff between Batman and Commissioner Gordon. Like Batman hurt his back, so he was sitting on a chair on the roof when he was answering the bat signal, and Commissioner Gordon's like, I've never seen you sit. Well, there's a lot of things you've never seen me do. So it looks like it's kind of funny.
Absolutely. Let me see here. Try to find another good question. Here we go. What is your favorite DC or Marvel series? So I guess this is still focusing on TV shows. Yeah. So I guess it's between Arrow and The Flash.
Yeah, I think so. I'm
you got the Netflix Daredevil. There you go. There's my answer.
Oh, I am so glad you said that. Yes, seasons 1 through 3 of Daredevil are perfection. I've never seen a show that got better with each season. Daredevil did it. And season 3 ended where it could continue, but it's also a good period if it never goes on. So I wasn't super sad that it was canceled because it had a good ending. So yeah, I'll go with you on that one. Daredevil season 3 and Batman the Animated Series, because I already said Arrow.
I was crushed that it got canceled because like I was a fan more so of season 2. I didn't get into season 1 quite as much as everybody else whenever everyone was just losing their mind about it. I loved the addition of the Punisher. Season 3 for me was where it really clicked, where I was like, wow, this show, like every episode was great. The whole way that it just built up all the way to that final confrontation at the end. And then I think that I had kind of, I didn't watch it. I didn't binge it like the first weekend. So if I'm remembering things correctly, I think I had 1 or 2 more episodes to go by the time that announcement came that it was canceled. And I was okay, well, hopefully they end this. I mean, it makes sense. He's going to finally take out the Kingpin probably by the end. They're going to wrap it up in a nice little bow. And then I saw where the tease that they had with Bullseye, and I was like, no!
Yeah, that was sad because they used Bullseye so well in season 3. Like that was a really good origin story for that character. And oh gosh, the way he was manipulated was so sad. It was just so good. So yeah, I'm sad that part's not going on, but yeah.
Here's one. It's not necessarily a question, but it's a statement that we could form a question out of. Hunter Smith, I somewhat hope Joker isn't in the Batman trilogy. Give other villains a spotlight. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like we can have a series of Matt Reeves Batman films with no Joker?
You know, I've actually thought about this a lot, just being the nerd that I am. I do like the Joker, and it would be always great because that's like Batman's big foe. But we've seen the Joker so much. I mean, we've seen him done in so many different ways. It would be cool to see the spotlight shine on Bat villains that have never been brought to live action cinema. There's too many that would be cool. Yeah, Deadshot. That'd be cool.
Deadshot. I mean, you got the whole Court of Owls.
Yes,
I mean, there's a lot of different villains that they have never.
Wilson, come on, bring in Slade Wilson and let's see him go up against Batman. Yeah.
Which, by the way, I saw Joe Manganiello, how do you say his last name, who plays Deathstroke in that last little tease at the end of the theatrical cut, and he retweeted the Snyder Cut announcement and put plus the original post-credit scene, and it had like little symbols, so there's going to be something else there.
Well, I'd even heard rumors that Slade Wilson was like, you see a scene where you see him help Lex Luthor get out of jail. Like, you see at the end of the movie, Lex Luthor's not in jail anymore. But apparently there was a scene where you see Slade Wilson going in there and saving Lex Luthor and getting him out of prison. Things like that would be cool to see.
Absolutely. So back to this Joker statement here. I have a caveat. I can go a trilogy of great Batman films without Joker. But I think I would only want that if they're going to continue with the... why am I blanking on his name? Joaquin Phoenix. If they're going to do another Joker with him. Because if you think 3 films, that's probably going to be 8 years of Batman movies. Yep. Can we go 8 years without a cinematic Joker? Probably. But do I want to? I don't know.
Yeah, but see, that's a good thing. That 8 years would produce that desire. It would produce that desire because now we've had so many Jokers and now all of a sudden we get Batman 8 years. It's like, then we'd be really wanting a Joker.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, I think we can do it. Selfishly, I love the Joker, so I'd love at least for him to have somewhat of a presence there. But we don't need a whole film based off the Joker. We don't need a Dark Knight. I don't think.
No,
I think that we can do it where the Joker maybe just kind of gets introduced in there because, like, supposedly, if you believe the rumors, this is going to be towards the beginning. There's going to be a lot of Batman villains in this movie, so it's going to start off this whole Batman universe. And there's so much to pull from that we haven't got a chance to see yet that they have plenty to pull from that they can easily do 3-4 movies without Joker. Yeah. But as long as they're good, we'll be fine.
One thing that would be kind of cool is, if Matt Reeves has this Batman trilogy, let's build to the Joker and let him be in the third one. Let's shine the light on villains we've never seen in the first 2, and then maybe let him be the villain that closes the trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. So we know we're going to get Penguin. We know we're going to get Riddler. Catwoman's going to be in this one. So those are kind of still sticking to the A team, but you got a lot of really cool villains. Like, even though we just got him in Birds of Prey, I love Black Mask. I think Black Mask could be a great villain for them to explore. I don't know. Again, we don't know what connective tissue this is going to have to the DCEU. Is it going to be its own thing or what? Black Mask is great. You got like Mad Hatter.
I'd love to
Man-Bat. You've got Firefly. Like you said, Deathstroke was a great one. I think that was going to be the main villain for Ben Affleck's script.
Clayface is weird, but could be fun. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff there. So yeah, I'm curious. I hope that they're going to, even if they do have the Joker, I hope they're going to start using more of the more underknown villains and not just stick to the Riddler, Two-Face, Bane.
Yeah. Thing nice about Riddler and Penguin, especially, is we really haven't seen them since, the old Batman movies in the 90s. So getting the Penguin and getting the Riddler at this point, it's been so many years since we've had them. It's almost new. Mm-hmm. So I don't mind that, but I definitely want to see some new villains altogether.
Absolutely. So let me see if we got another question here. A lot of chat going on. Solomon Grundy, somebody said. So that's another interesting one.
Yeah, those would be good. Yep.
Make the Joker like the Kingpin, manipulating the villains of the first 2 movies in the third movie, Batman versus Joker. I like that idea.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Arkham Knight. Now, I've been playing a lot of Batman Arkham lately. I just beat Arkham City again, and I'm pretty much at the end of Arkham Knight again because I want to do a ranking on these, and I wanted to kind of refresh. Have you played the Batman Arkham games?
I have. And Arkham Knight, story-wise, is my favorite of the games. But Arkham City is my favorite for gameplay because I just love doing that random gameplay where I could be Nightwing and then, you know, I do those rounds where I face off the villains. Round 2, it's more villains. Round 3, it's like even more like I could lose myself for hours in that. So gameplay wise, I liked the second one the best, but Arkham Knight had a really cool story to it.
I'm with you. You know, the Arkham Knight gets a lot of flack because of the what people call overuse of the Batmobile. People didn't really like the reveal of who the Arkham Knight actually was. And, you know, I'm going to be getting into a lot of these thoughts in the ranking, obviously, but I just replayed Arkham Knight. And, you know, like the Batmobile thing I get because I am feeling like I've done way too many tank battles. But the identity of the Arkham Knight being Jason Todd, I always thought was this great storyline in that.
I did
game.
too.
I understand.
Because it was the Under the Red Hood storyline. It was a brilliant way to deal with Under the Red Hood and the way they had Batman flashing back, you know, to the Joker killing him. Like that stuff was so well done. It's like, I want that movie. That'd be a good movie. Under the Red Hood, live action. Do that.
I'll tell you what, Arkham Knight was a big influence whenever I wrote that idea for Gotham.
I sensed that when you were doing that for our pitch war. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, I don't know. Like the biggest thing, I think it kind of got the same effect that Star Trek Into Darkness had, where Rocksteady was really building up Arkham Knight, and they're like, it's going to be this great new original character. And they were, you know, the whole story is going to be about who this guy is. And then most Batman fans within the first third of the game is like, I bet it's Jason Todd. So it's I get that to a certain degree, but I still think they executed it really well. I love the look of the Arkham Knight, and he still becomes Red Hood at the end of it. I loved that whole thing. I loved the way that they did the flashbacks, like you said, whenever the fear toxin starts to come in and he's starting to have these hallucinations of Joker torturing Jason Todd. I thought that was some of the best parts of the game. So, I'm going to be defending Arkham Knight a little bit whenever I do this ranking.
And you should. I mean, I didn't get that hype, though. Like, when it was coming out, and I didn't see a lot of those trailers. My brother-in-law is a huge gamer, so I played it with him, and we played through it together in, like, a day. Yeah. And I knew right off the bat. I was like, oh, Arkham Knight, Red Hood, Jason Todd. Like, I mean, I knew that within the first 2 seconds. I didn't care. The story, like you said, it was executed so well. On top of you actually get to play it in the game. So, like, all of that was so cool to me.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. Now, there's supposed to be another Batman game. Hopefully we get that announced here soon. I believe it's the team that did Arkham Origins. Did you play Arkham Origins?
I downloaded a demo on my PlayStation, and I didn't like it. It was weird. So I quit it and deleted it. But yeah, no, the main three I like. Origins, I didn't get very far in. It's
pretty damn good. It does feel a little weird at first because it's the same game, kind of, but something's off. Something, not that it's bad, but it's just different enough to where it feels weird playing it, especially if you go right from Arkham City or something to that, because it had been a year or two and I played it and I just got right into it. But I actually played it on PS Now about a week ago, right after I beat Arkham City, and immediately I was like, this is weird. But it's the studio that's doing that's making supposedly another Batman Arkham game. So I'm curious what they're going to do. If they're going to do Court of Owls, or if it's going to be somewhere in the Batman timeline before City and Arkham Knight and
because the ending of Arkham Knight, I don't. They have to follow that up at some point. But it's an ending. Like, to me, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, that's an ending. So I'd be curious.
Did you actually get all the Riddler trophies and all the different achievements to unlock the full ending with the Nightfall protocol and everything?
Yes.
Yes.
Because I played it with my brother-in-law, and I wanted to see the real ending, and I think he had done that. So I got to see the actual legit ending, which was really, really cool.
Yes, that's the one complaint that I had is I love side missions, and I love having a game that has tons of content for your money. But my God, like it was like 280 Riddler challenges. And I was like, this is obnoxious.
Yes. That's the one thing I never liked so much. Like, some of those Riddler challenges are fine and they're fun. Some are like impossibly stupidly hard. Yeah. And I just got so mad, like, especially in Arkham Knight, the one that I got the most gameplay in. I just quit it. I was like, I'm done. I'm going to walk around the streets of Gotham and beat up thugs. I don't care about this stupid Riddler stuff anymore.
Let's see. Who would you two cast as Poison Ivy?
Oh, gosh. Who would I cast? I got to think about that for a second.
I like Karen Gillan. Is that how you say her name? Gillian?
Yeah.
I'm thinking redhead. She's pretty awesome so far. She's kind of making her way up into the world of Hollywood.
Yeah, and I do like her. She's good.
She's
I'm
good.
trying to think who else. I almost said Amber Heard, but that could open up a can of worms in this conversation. Bryce Dallas Howard from Hunter Smith. Well,
yep.
Maybe. I'm back. She's so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she can play that off in an evil way yet.
I'd like to see a nice dark version of Poison Ivy, because like there's something in there where she can kill people with venom and everything like that. There's something in there that's like, it's like Basic Instinct with Batman or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting one. Somebody said
that would be
Ruby
cool.
Rose. I quit Batwoman to be Poison Ivy.
Let her come back into the DC universe this time in the movie.
You heard her here first. That's why she quit.
She could do that. You know, she just lets her hair grow out a little longer, dye it red. I think she could actually play that off pretty evil. Yeah.
The chick from Ready or Not, Believe in the Hype. Yeah, Samara Weaving. She would be great. She's got that kind of that attitude, that spunk to her that would be fun.
That is very true.
Awesome. Let me see here. Whoopi Goldberg. Probably not.
Old Poison Ivy, a very old one.
Yes.
Emilia Clarke as Poison Ivy.
Oh yeah, she could do it.
That's a good one.
Let's see here. Could you do a 31-on-31 superhero and supervillain edition? We have discussed a lot of different ideas for 31-on-31. Nothing obviously is set in stone, but trust me, we have so much fun, and you guys love those so much that we have got a lot of ideas on paper and many years to do them. So stay tuned on that.
Nice. Let's
see here. No new questions. Let me scroll back up.
No problem. Oh, let me ask you a question, Cody Leach.
Yes.
Would you like to watch a live action Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Did you see that animated movie?
I did not, but I laughed my ass off that Brian Lomax felt the need to say that was the best Ninja Turtles movie. Because I texted him right before we went live to try to get him in, because Brian is an absolute DC fanatic. I love him to death, but like we even give him crap about it sometimes, like as if the only time he can't be objective is when it's a DC property. So like whenever he did that, I just laughed because that's such a Brian thing. Like I joke with him, like, what's your top 5 Marvel films? It's like Dark Knight's #1. So
well, it's funny when he posted that, because I knew when I did my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ranking video of the cinematic movies, and I made sure to say cinematic because I knew somebody was going to do that, and then it was good old Brian who threw that out there, and it's like, it's a good movie, Brian. It wasn't on the big screen.
Absolutely. So yeah, I bought it for Shane. So I have the Blu-ray, but I have not sat down to check it out yet. Is it any good?
It's fun. I mean, if you like the Ninja Turtles and you like Batman, the animation isn't my favorite, but the story is fun.
Gotcha. Maybe one day. I just watched Batman Hush this past weekend because I was on a Batman kick because I've been playing all the games, and that one, it was okay. I've read the comic, or the graphic novel, whatever you're going to call it, and the comic is much better in my opinion.
They kind of twisted too, didn't they?
Yeah, they changed the identity of the killer and everything like that, so it was a little weird for me. But I don't know. They've been very hit and miss with the Batman stuff. Like I really didn't like the Killing Joke and how they changed that, and the things that they added was strange, and it kind of felt the same way with Hush. Yeah. Although not quite as to the, Batgirl sleeping with Batman on a roof level.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That was sad.
Do you want to see... Oh, hang on. I did have a chat question picked up. Where was that at? When they canceled Daredevil, they said the character would continue in future Marvel projects. If the show continued on Disney Plus, do you think the quality would be the same in rated R? No. No chance in hell.
Nope.
No chance in hell. Not necessarily that it wouldn't...
good. It could still be good, but no, we would have to all shift our expectations for what we're going to get dramatically.
And I don't even want that, to be honest with you. If you said today you can either have no more Daredevil or you can have the Disney Plus version, I would be like, I'm good. Nope. I wouldn't be able to have 3 seasons of that and then go to Disney Plus. And again, I'm not crapping on Disney. I love Disney. They produce some of my favorite films of all time, but Disney is Disney. Disney is not going to change. Disney is not going to anytime soon embrace R-rated material. We'll see what they do with Daredevil or with Deadpool. that'll be the first one, if anything. But no, I don't want to see the Disney Plus version of Netflix.
Yeah,
Daredevil.
Deadpool's going to be released under their Fox Studios banner, and so they won't have to put the Disney banner on that, and it won't have to be on Disney Plus. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, now, if they do that, it'd be the same thing with Daredevil.
I did have a question that was pretty good. Let me see if I can find it again. It was asking about Michael Keaton. I can't find it again, but it said,
do you want a standalone Michael Keaton movie? And here's my answer. Give me Batman Beyond the movie and have Michael Keaton be the guy training. I forget Batman Beyond's name.
Terry something. Terry.
Yes. I must not be a true fan. Yes, I almost said Terry Gilliam, and I went, no, that's a director, and that's totally wrong.
I almost said Terry Gilliam too, and I was like,
oh,
that's not right.
I'm glad I'm not alone. But that's the answer to that question. I used to love Batman Beyond the Animated Series. I didn't watch it as religiously as Batman the Animated Series, but like Return of the Joker was really good, and I'd love to see Michael Keaton training that next generation of Batman.
I'll take that all day long. Here's a great one for Ethan James. Any superheroes you'd like to see there be a video game of? Superman.
Oh, man. Yeah,
that's a no-brainer for me.
They made this Superman game on Xbox 64? For Superman Returns. Oh, was it on? I didn't play that one. There was a Superman Returns game on Xbox, and it was cool because it was an open world game, and you could fly super high in the sky. Then you could do this cool bullet move and ground pound on the ground. But since you can't hurt Superman, the city had a health bar, so you couldn't hit too hard or anything like that. Because if you accidentally hit a building, the city health bar went down.
That sounds horrible.
It was so irritating. This was back in the day where cheat codes existed. I went online and I found the dang cheat codes and I made the city as invincible as Superman. I was like, this is ridiculous. But then the game was so easy after that. I was like, Superman would be hard, but Rocksteady could do it, I think.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean. And I think people have been clamoring for that ever since Arkham Asylum, where it's like you got to do an open world Superman game. And to me, it's a no-brainer. Like everybody has those painful memories of Superman 64 where you have to fly through the rings, and that was the whole game. And there is such awesome potential if you think about the open world and the side characters and all the storyline and the comic book resonance of what they did with the Arkham series, to do something like that with Superman. I just think that would be awesome. We got Spider-Man for PS4, which definitely took a lot of inspiration from Batman Arkham, and it was pretty damn good, especially story-wise. That was a really, really good superhero game. But yeah, Superman definitely needs one. Superman or a genuinely great X-Men game, I would like to see.
That would be fun.
I have fond memories of playing X-Men 2 for Sega Genesis, where you could pick what X-Men you wanted to be at the beginning of the stage. And I just feel like there's potential for, like, we have the Marvel Avengers game coming out. I'm curious how that's going to be, but something along the lines of that, where you have some kind of a conflict. You have X-Men NPCs around, and you can choose, like, I want to be Wolverine for this one. I want to be Cyclops for this one.
That would be cool.
Yeah, so I've always loved that Sega Genesis game. I think we could easily do something like that.
I'd be a fan if we got a Green Lantern game. That'd be fun to play.
Yeah, that would be cool too. I'll take any of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Terry McGinnis. Okay, so that was his name.
Nice. I don't know why I keep wanting to say Jillian, whatever, but I'm glad you did too.
I did. It was close. I was like, that's 12 Monkeys.
Which was a good movie. Haven't seen that in ages, though.
Cody, would you ever do a series of reviews for the DC animated films? Love to see a review of Batman Under the Red Hood, my favorite film. Probably never a review series. Well, I'll never say never. Probably not anytime soon on a review series, but I am for sure going to be doing a Batman review series whenever we are close to the Batman being released. And I might throw in a couple of the animated movies. I'm definitely going to throw in Mask of the Phantasm.
That's a great one to review.
I love that one. So yeah, maybe a couple.
Son of Batman was good. That's a good one to throw in there too for you.
What is it?
Son of Batman.
Son of Batman. Is that where what's his name?
I can't. Damian Wayne.
Damian Wayne comes in. Yeah,
we meet Damian, and it's kind of his origin. It's in that new 52 universe that they just finished up with Justice
Rebirth
League Dark 2.
Like
wow, why am I blanking on the title? Well, Justice League Dark 2, basically. And Apocalypse War. Haha! I knew it would come to my mind. They just finished it up with that. But Son of Batman is early on in that series, but it's a good one.
Gotcha. But I have seen Batman Under the Red Hood, Polly Lopes, and it was very good.
Yeah,
I did enjoy that one. I think it was wasn't the voice Jensen Ackles for Red Hood, the guy from Supernatural? Okay, yes. Yeah, I have seen that one. I
just rewatched it, and it's funny because I didn't like the voice of the Joker. For some reason, it just didn't feel like the Joker to me. It wasn't like it was particularly bad. It just didn't feel like the Joker. But otherwise, I really enjoyed it.
It's hard to see an animated Joker that's not Mark Hamill. It's so hard.
Yes, it is. And that might have been really it, and that might make a lot of people mad, but it's hard. Like, if you're watching an animated Joker, your brain goes there because Mark Hamill defined that. It was amazing.
Yes. He's still to date. I know people that love Heath Ledger are going to swear me up and down for this, but he's still my favorite version of the Joker. That was the one that I grew up with. Even when I play the Arkham games, you hear that voice. It's just, that is the Joker to me. So I'm the same way. When I watch it and it's a different voice actor or a different design, it's weird to get used to.
Yeah.
Nathan Smurthwaite, what do you want to see in a Flash movie?
Wow. It depends on what you mean, because if you're getting at Flashpoint, I need a bit more build up to that. I need to see his universe before we go back in time and change his universe. But I would love to see Flash mastering his, time travel skills. I mean, if he's kind of the more Spider-Man comedic character, it'd be fun to do a little Back to the Future vibe of Flash versus Reverse Flash learning how to time travel.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with the Flash comic stories. All I know is the show, and I don't want a movie that just recreates the show, even though the first season, the way that they framed that whole rivalry between Flash and Reverse Flash was genius.
That was awesome.
But I don't know.
Zoom was the best in season 2. Like, I love Zoom.
Awesome.
But I don't know what to do with Zoom other than season 2 of The Flash.
Yeah. If Tony Todd's not doing the voice, I don't want it. I don't even know what I want to see in a Flash movie, honestly. I don't even think I want a Flash movie just yet. Like, I know we've been talking about it. It's gone through as many hands as the Uncharted movie, it seems like.
And then that weird thing online with
Ezra Miller.
Yes, like, that was weird. And so now up in the air, is he going to stay the Flash and all that? So it's like,
what was weird about it was that video just felt so purposely edited short that it's one of those things where, like, you read the headline and it's like Ezra Miller body slams fan, and you're like, whoa, and you watch the video and he like grabs her and like gently puts her down, but it's in a weird sense of like, he's like, are you you want to fight or something like that? So it's like you don't know whether to take it serious or not, and the video is cut so short to where you feel like anybody that was watching that wouldn't put their phone down. There's so much that's weird about it. And I haven't done any research whatsoever to see if there was people that were there that, validated that story, saying that, yes, there was more than that video and he's a jerk. I have no idea. Maybe they've already confirmed that. I'm not defending the guy. It's just, it's so weird when you see something like that. And especially in today's society where, this little bit happens and they're like, cancel him. You know what I mean? So it's weird.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I liked his performance. I thought it was fine, but
I like him as an actor. I love Perks of Being a Wallflower, and he's very dark in We Need to Talk About Kevin. I don't know if you've ever seen that one, but he definitely is a good actor. His Flash, I liked him. I'm curious to see the Snyder Cut version to see what was the original intent of that character, because I don't think he was going to be as quippy or as clumsy as he was in the Whedon. But yeah, I really don't know. That's one where I would not want that job. I would not want to be the guy who's in charge of the Flash movie.
Now, something that'd be fascinating to me. So imagine we live in an alternate universe. It would have been fascinating if the Flash and Arrow were part of the DCEU. Because I kind of wonder, would that influence the shows differently? So maybe there would be less of that cartoony Legends of Tomorrow and cartoony what they did with Supergirl. And what if they would have grounded it a bit more, kept Arrow just as it was grounded, took the Flash, kept him joyful, but grounded him a little bit more? Because I think that would have been cool to have had Grant Gustin and Stephen Amell pop up in the Justice League movie. But that's an alternate universe, and that's kind of me kind of just going, what if? That'd be a fun Flash thing to see, though, because I like Grant Gustin's performance, even if I'm done with the show and how they made him so melancholy now. But back in the day, in those first 2 seasons, I would have loved to have seen him in Justice League and that type of personality.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yep.
Let's see. Miller choked the fan. Whoa, bro, was said. LOL. like I said, I've done zero research. The video is just very weird.
I've seen the video. I've read a little bit of articles. It's weird. It's I don't even know what to think about any of it.
Exactly. Let's see. Here's one for Durban specifically. What are your thoughts on Batman Gotham Knight? It said it possibly ties in with the Dark Knight trilogy, but it's either, in my opinion.
Are you talking about the animated movie Gotham Knight? Which
must be.
Well, that movie was interesting, but that was like a bunch of short Batman story vignettes, which I thought was cool. I haven't seen it in so long, I almost completely forget. So if it actually did have any connections into the Dark Knight, I don't even remember. But I do remember it being a lot of short Batman stories that overall were pretty good.
Yeah. I have not seen it, so I'm glad he asked you.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of answered this, but we can kind of stray away from villains and answer the other side of the coin. What's a villain or character that you would like to see in Reeves' Batman trilogy? I honestly want to see a good Robin, considering The Dark Knight Rises mishandled him, in my opinion. It's hard because he's supposed to be a young Batman, so he's a ways away from any Robin or Nightwing or anything like that. I mean, that's whenever he was already in his 40s, 50s, something like that. So I don't think it would make sense. Although
your Batman version that you go into whenever they bring Robin in.
Yeah, I would love to see Robin or Nightwing done in a more serious way. Obviously, you have the old school Robin where he's got the little shorts and everything, and he kind of turned into a joke.
I don't ever want to see that.
Yeah, but if you see like the Batman Arkham games, like the Robin and the Nightwing that we have in there, where they're a little bit, they're a little bit more serious, where they actually can hold their own. They've been trained, and Batman's actually not necessarily a father figure, but always trying to kind of push them, like. Where Robin wants to go do this, and he's like, you're getting slow, you need to harness this, and Nightwing wanting to come in and help, he's like, no, you need to do Bloodhaven, I can handle this. Like, I would like to see stories like that. I just don't think with the timeline they're going for that's going to make sense anytime soon.
Yeah, I think an interesting timeline would be is what if you started off a Batman trilogy as a Robin origin story, and it's kind of like world's greatest detective, so just take Sherlock and Watson's meeting Sherlock. That'd be kind of interesting, in my opinion. But like you said, that'd probably be way down the road because this version is very early in Batman's career. Also, it's weird to me that Robin's always a kid. He's Batman. He's trying to protect the city, and then he's taking like a 13-year-old kid and teaching him how to fight crime. Like, I always thought that was weird.
Yeah, exactly. You would have to update it. You would have to do, like the Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. I mean, Chris O'Donnell was in his 20s. That makes more sense to me. But yeah, I just think, if you put a 20-year-old as like the boy wonder next to Robert Pattinson, it'd be like, dude, I'm like 6 years younger than you. Like it's I don't know how old Robert Pattinson is, but he
I
looks
don't either,
younger.
but yeah.
Let me see here. Let's take 5 more questions, Durban. We're nearing 90 minutes. It's been
Hunter Smith agrees with me. That makes me happy. Thank you.
Hey, there you go. Believe in the hype. What do you want to see, or what do you think will happen in Venom 2? Where obviously we're getting Venom versus Carnage. That's going to be what it's about. What do I want to see? I want to see. I know that they're not going to do rated R, but Carnage is a very dark, brutal storyline and villain. I want to see them get as close to that as they can while towing that PG-13 line. I mean, you got a vampire movie coming out where the dude's going to suck blood. So, I mean, you got to push the envelope a little bit with these, what are they calling them? Sony Pictures universe of Marvel characters or whatever.
Whatever they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which all of that might all belong to Disney here in the not too distant future. So who knows?
Yeah. You want to sell a Spider-Man? No. Okay. We'll just buy you. But yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see Carnage done as comic book accurate as they can, to where he feels brutal, he feels scary, he feels like a genuine villain. I don't want to see that character mishandled. Yeah.
I think all that I want, because I haven't read tons of, I'm more DC, so I haven't read tons of Marvel comics. So I don't know all the history on Carnage and Venom. I think they're very interesting characters. I just want the clear-cut answer. What universe is this in? Is this the MCU? Is this a parallel timeline? That's what I want. And Venom 2. I want the answer.
Well, they got that little scene at the end of the Morbius trailer where you see Vulture. So to me, that was them saying that the villains and everything is kind of that's their thing, but they are tied together somehow.
And that's what I think too. But yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with that. Like, Marvel's been very strange with their connective tissue, to where the TV series was supposed to be part of the MCU, but then they really never acknowledged it, never bothered with it. So are they going to do the same thing with this Sony verse? Is it just going to be cute to see Vulture and that's going to be it? We'll see.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I don't care if it's cute and fun little side connection that never fully connects. I just want to know. That's what I want out of my sequel. Tell me where this fits.
All right. Let's see here. Who is your favorite Batman villain?
Oh, man. My favorite You go first. Let me think about that for a second.
Oh, God. I mean, it's probably the Joker. It's hard not to say the Joker. If I'm gonna take Joker out of the equation, which I'll do for the sake of just talking about something different. God, that's hard because he has so many good ones.
Man, he does. That's one of the coolest things about Batman is his villains are just really, really cool.
Oh, that's so hard. Probably Two-Face, just because I like the storyline involved with it, where he was a friend that got turned into a foe, and I like all of that. But then again, I love certain versions of the Riddler. Penguin is one I've never really been a fan of, I will say that, as far as the major ones.
It's just, see, for me, this is why it's hard. It depends on where they're portrayed.
Yeah, what version.
Because on Batman the Animated Series, Man-Bat is awesome with Joker as second best. If you're looking at movies, freaking love Heath Ledger. He stole that show. And Joker, again, because of the 1989 Batman, the way he's portrayed in that. In comics, I mean, I've been reading the Earth 1 series. The way Penguin is portrayed in Batman Earth 1 Volume 1, I think is incredibly smart. And so I'd love to see that version put on the big screen. So I really like that version. I think Riddler, if you play him right, if you have Batman as the world's greatest detective like Sherlock Holmes, then Riddler could almost be his Moriarty, like in the way Riddler's done in the Arkham series, he's sinister, man. So in that series, it's definitely the Riddler. So that's a hard question only because it depends on what version of Batman we're talking about and how the villains are being portrayed in that version. I mean, I loved Scarecrow in Batman Begins. That was awesome. But it was mostly because of the fear toxin and the cool demon
I love
Batman
the version of Scarecrow we got in Arkham Knight. Like he was in Arkham Asylum, but in Arkham Knight, he's very different. The design is different. You get the voice of John, forgot his last name from Fringe, but he does an awesome job. John Noble, I think. But yeah, that's a version, like he's a very horror type character, so it kind of works for me. Deathstroke, somebody said Deathstroke's awesome, very cool villain. It's hard. I mean, Batman, bar none, has the best rogues gallery, so it's like picking your favorite kids.
Yeah, for
sure. Believe in the
so
hype super chat. Better villain, Spidey or Batman? In my opinion, it's Spidey.
That's hard.
I'm still going to say Batman, honestly. Spider-Man gives him a run for his money. I mean, you got Green Goblin, you got Venom, you got Doc Ock, you've got Sandman. But to me, Batman has ones that I love more.
and part of that for me is, again, I'm more of a DC, and I always grew up more of a DC. So I'm more familiar. Like, I've been getting familiar with Spider-Man since Tobey Maguire upward through the movies. Yeah. And so that's where I've been getting to know the villains. Batman, I've been getting to know his villains since 1989 through Batman the Animated Series and picking up a few comics here and there. So that's why for me, I lean towards the Batman villains because I'm familiar with them.
Exactly. All right. So I think we got two more. Let's do two more questions.
Awesome.
A lot of people are saying Spider-Man in the chat. Spider-Man's got some love here.
Well, I'm sorry. I mean, I like Spider-Man. He's awesome.
Do you guys want to see Professor Pig in the Batman trilogy? I do not know very much about Professor Pig, but I will say that was by far the darkest and craziest part of Batman Arkham Knight. That whole murder mystery. And I think it was because of the Professor Pig segment that the game got a mature rating. So it definitely appeals to me because I like the darker, more horror edge stuff. I don't think just the name itself, I don't think modern audiences would take seriously Professor Pig. I think they'd be like, what? No. But I do like the way that he was portrayed in Batman Arkham Knight. I don't think he would make it into a movie, though. I just don't think it works.
I've seen, I don't know why I can't remember him in Arkham Knight. I feel like I should, but I don't.
It was like you were finding bodies in a lot of different spots where, and at the end of that kind of that mini side quest or whatever, you find him, and it's a very horror type boss battle where it's been a while. I have not gotten that far on my replay, but if I remember correctly, you find like his hideout and you go in and it's just this dude walking around like Leatherface in a pig mask trying to literally like kill you with like blood everywhere. And it's like, oh, wow, this got dark.
Well, he did pop up in one of those New 52 animated movies, and his role, was it New 52? I don't remember. Anyway, his role was pretty small, and I went, that's creepy. So I'd be curious to see what they could do with him.
Here's a good one to end on because it's going to bring a lot of passion out of both of us. Does this Justice League cut bring back memories of Alien 3? I hope not, because all of my memories of Alien 3 are pain and anguish. I cannot, like, it's going to be really hard because Alien's going to be one of the franchises we're doing for 31 on 31 this year. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for where I'm going to put Alien 3 because I'm going to have movies that are very clearly worse movies if you're going to be objective about it. But I despise what they do in Alien 3 so much that it's going to go very low on that list. And I know Brian especially is going to be like, are you out of your mind? I don't know. Alien 3.
Oh, gosh. Our Alien 3 review on my channel is still getting fresh comments and fresh arguments from people of like, you and me just don't understand it. And I'm like, you know what?
I love those comments. You just don't get it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to see the assembly cut. Maybe I need to see the director's cut. Maybe I should try some of these other cuts. But my experience, I came out of the masterpiece of Alien 2, and I didn't even give it a full 24-hour break and went into Alien 3, and they killed off everybody that I knew and loved, every journey and character arc I had been on, dead.
I remember whenever we reviewed Aliens and we were talking about characters, and you were like, yes, I can't wait to see what they do with Hicks and Newton. I was like, oh, God. Should I warn him? And then you texted me when you were watching. You were like, are you serious?
Yes, that was horrible. And it was horrifying for me to watch. I can't imagine that this cut of Justice League could trigger that type of feeling in me. It better not. Because I think at the very least, the 2017 Justice League movie, it just isn't good. So this can't be that much more worse. And at the very least, there's that whole curiosity of where were you going with all of that? So that's, I don't know what else to say. Yeah.
That's a good enough note to end on. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for State of the DCEU. Hopefully we get some more stuff to talk about here very soon. This was certainly the biggest DC news that we've had in a very long time. Hopefully we get a trailer for the Batman at some point, probably by the end of this year, I would imagine. If we get to see Wonder Woman in August, you'll have one of these in August. But
that's right.
We shall see. Me and Durban have been talking recently about doing some other projects. So even if we don't have some DC stuff to talk about, hopefully you'll see me and Durban together very soon. Durban, where can they find you?
You can find me right here on YouTube. You just search Durbania, and I pop right up. I do movie reviews and ranking videos and that sort of thing. I also do this thing that I call a theological analysis or a theological review, where I like to get deep into the movies and analyze them. Cody's had fun with some of my horror film theological analyses, which those are a lot of fun to, dig deep and analyze. So come over, check it out. Love to have you.
Yes, definitely check out Durban. We've done a lot of collabs on John Carpenter films, especially where he goes in a very different direction with how he breaks down those types of films. So give him a shot. Hit the subscribe button over there. Hit the subscribe button here if you are joining us for the very first time. We talk State of the DCEU every time there's something new to talk about or a new film. And obviously, I have a lot of other horror content and video game content that's going to be ramping up a lot more here lately with the movie news and movie reviews kind of being not so prominent right now. I've enjoyed doing some video game stuff, and I might even jump into some music stuff here soon. So a little bit more fleshed out. But thank you guys so much for watching. After I get done doing all this and the video goes up, I'll put Durban's link down below if you want an easier way to go to his channel. Until then, the state of the DCU seems pretty strong. So we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.